If you're watching the replay on YouTube, I just realized that this is going to be recorded in its entirety. Welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about 8th grade math homework, and that will include finding slope from 2 points and slope from graphs, which is always great. Hey Matthew, how's it going?
Good.
We're going to give people a few minutes to log in before we get started. I'm going to go ahead and put this disclaimer up on the screen. If you don't want hey Zara, if you don't want your face to be on YouTube, or you do not want your voice to be on YouTube, you're going to have to mute yourself or turn off your camera. Just saying.
Okay.
And it sounds like I'm going to have to go get kids
Give me
settled in
a
the other
second.
room.
I'm going to turn my TV off.
Okay, Matthew.
All right. You know the boy who's a paint roller? Spray paint toy? Some of you in shop.
I'm going to go ahead and get a timer so that we let's see.
And it has a pickaxe. But you know how Tilt Techniques pickaxes that?
I was just saying we're going to give people a few minutes to log in. And if anyone's watching on YouTube, this must be amazing content. Hey, look at this guy, look at his other screen and type stuff. No, I posted that for people that could not make it to the live stream, that I'd be posting it on YouTube. So everything I say and do right now is being recorded for YouTube. I'm not, unless I edit it out. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends on time.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, it's Sierra.
Oh, dang, Terry.
Let's say 7 minutes. So if you'll handle something, I'm going to mute myself just for a second. And yeah, that gives people enough time to log in. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm going to go settle the kids in the other room.
Amongst the Negro community. They are requesting police protection against the Negro goon squads, which reportedly have been organized to intimidate the other Negroes who want to ride the bus on Monday. There's no such thing. You said your friend on the bus. That's not helping. Joe did not like this uncle very much.
Okay, almost time to get started. Thank you, everyone, and your patience for being here. Hopefully, you guys can get some questions ready for me. Otherwise, I will be more than happy to put questions on the screen. To any parents that are watching and learning right along with us, awesome. Thank you for being here. It's cool. We've got a mix of people from A Day and B Day, so some that have already seen these questions in class and some that have not. So like Dakaya and Tiara and Rakaya, you guys, I mean, the only way you've seen this material is if you've looked at the assignments already posted on Classroom. So either you're here to get a head start or you're here to clarify something you've already tried. Both good. And for everyone that's going to join a little bit late, well, they'll just have to watch the replay. So the best thing you guys can be doing right now is either pulling up a problem that you tried to solve, didn't know how, or one you may have even gotten right, but still don't know how, or a lesson you're looking at, you just like hands in the air, like, I don't know. Maybe I can figure it out, maybe I don't, but we'll get there. So there's really two skills we're going to talk about. That is finding the slope of a line where they give you the picture, or finding the slope when they just gives you points. I'm going to stress this one more time. If you do not want to be on YouTube, mute your mic and or turn off your camera.
Mr. Matthews, is you talking about our problems on Khan Academy?
Yeah, we can do that. That's okay. The practice for the stuff we're gonna be doing. Mm-hmm. If you need to communicate and you don't want to use your mic, there is a text. There's a chat box as well. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do.
Why you close the camera up? You don't see my face.
I know you guys, it'll be hard to go back and forth between looking at me and looking at your quiz questions unless you learn how to resize your windows real quick. But there is a Zoom group chat, so if you have a question that you don't know how to say or don't feel like saying, oh, timer's up. Okay. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay, everybody. So, all right, so here we are. Now, for the next hour or so, I'm willing to go over material that I can bring to the screen and let everyone see what the problems are going to be like. I can do a quick demo of the skills we're going to be doing, and then I can take questions, or we can just kind of do some problems together, and who knows? This is sort of unstructured. We're going to see what you guys need. So if you have specific questions, I can do a couple things. I can keep my phone running for pictures that you guys can send me, or you can email me screenshots, or just try to as best you can ask me what it is you'd like help with. So I'm just gonna make sure my email's open, and I'll just keep refreshing that. Okay. Looking at, all right, no current emails with problems. Okay, so the thing we're talking about this week is called slope. The slope is basically how steep a line is. So when you've got a y-axis and an x-axis, the slope of a line can be determined by just, well, there's a couple ways to do it. So first of all, let's get a line. There's one. There's a line. And let's get a friend. Whoops. I had another timer going in case you could hear that beep beeps. Okay, so let's get a friend of that line. Let's do not purple. Okay, so here's two lines. So the slope is what we say when we're measuring its relationship between the x and the y-axis. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just say that our x-axis is numbered like this. And our y-axis would also get numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, so these points where you can actually measure the relationship between the two values is what we call the slope. It's just a fraction, really. So this is really ill drawn, but you can see like our red line over here has a ratio. It goes up 2 units and then it goes over 3 units. So the slope of this line would be 2/3. Our purple friend over here, however, at the 3 unit mark, it's way up here. So I know I kind of drew this really sketchy. Anyway, so if I were to look at this point right here on the purple graph, so as it goes 3 units over, it's going up way more. So it's actually going like 4 units up. So the fraction for the purple line would be a rate of 4/3. That is the quick 10-second explanation as to what slope is. It's a way you measure how steep a line is on a graph and how you can compare it to other lines. Of course, part of the big problem this week is vocabulary. So I guess we could go through some of that real quick and then we'll get into some problems. So like the word slope, it's going to be called a rate. It's going to be called the rise over run. And the way I said that, that's rise over run. That's a fraction. It's also going to be called a proportional relationship. See if I don't spell anything incorrectly. Relationship. It's going to end up getting the variable m in equations. Why m is the letter they chose for slope? I don't know. It just is. So the rate, the rise over run. Oh, it's going to be the change in y over the change in x. And again, the way I'm saying that and the way I'm typing it are not exactly the same thing. That's quote change in y over change in x. Okay, so we can go ahead and jump into the lessons. And as I'm using these vocabulary words, I'll try to stop anytime I feel like I've said something too fast. But the first lesson that everyone was supposed to be trying to work out was how to get the slope from a graph. So let me pull up the lesson. So I'll just grab first grade here real quick and go to assignments. Okay, so just be warned, all these lessons you've been assigned this week, a lot of them are just videos to watch, like example problems or articles to read. They're not actually do 10 problems or lessons, but there are a couple you have to do, like this one, slope from a graph. Okay, so here we go. So in chat, if anyone wants to try and actually solve this one, that'd be cool. Just type it in chat so that people don't get spoiled online. So step one, what we want to do to try and figure out the slope of this line is we have to identify two spots on this graph where the blue line goes through an integer coordinate, like through one of the perfect crisscrosses. So you'll notice I'm going to draw a dot here and a dot here. Move that one over just a bit. And I guess this one might also work. Now I'm going to illustrate a little bit of an issue. Like, so this is a place that would not work. If you look right here in this little box section that I've just drawn, this is no good. Like, you can't use this as a coordinate because it's just, the blue line is not going through an integer crisscross of the grid. So don't try to use those. That'd be like the first problem. So that's step one. Identify where the blue line goes through perfect coordinate crisscrosses. Zaria, you're close. Good guess. So once you see Zaria, hopefully you'll see what you understand, like what you got right and what is a little off. So to get from, let's just call this A, just so we have a frame of reference, and let's call this B. So if you're getting from A to B, you have to go down, and then you have to go over. And the question here is how far. So when I say how far, I'm talking units. And by units, I mean actual square distances. So if we're going from A down, we go down 2 units. That's 2 squares. Oh, but remember that since we're going down, that is negative. And then the distance over is 1, 2, 3 squares. So now we have 2 numbers. We have the -2 and the 3. So we're almost to our answer. Just remember that the slope, M, is always going to be the rise over the run. That's the clever way to say it, but really the more technical mathy way to say it is that that's the change in Y over the change in X. This triangle, by the way, is a capital delta from the Greek alphabet. It's like the math cheat way to say change in. So that's the up and down change as a fraction in the numerator over the sideways change in the denominator. So the answer would be, the up and down change was -2, and the sideways change to the right was 3. So -2/3 will be the slope of this line. It's negative because it's going down, and the -2 has to be in the top because that was the change in the Y value. I'm yawning. This is weird. This is like the first time I've taught you guys without a face mask on. How comfortable is this to have a face? So you go down in this box here and you type -2 /3. And if you don't know how to type fractions, this is how. You need to use the front slash. Yay, we get it. Next one. All right, so feel free to use the chat box function to try and type in answers ahead of time so I can kind of get a gauge as to how you are doing with these questions. So here we go. So step one, again, we need to find where this line goes through perfect crisscrosses, and it looks like no. Okay, this spot looks good. Nope. This spot looks good. So once I've gotten 2, and that's all you need is 2, now we do our up and over or down and over changes. So let's see, let's draw us a line. So this is going up, but how far? It looks like I have to go up about to here. Then over this way. And now it's just a matter of counting. So how far do I go up and how far do I go over? Give you guys a second. So a common misanswer will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is, I'm going to tell you now, this is a wrong answer. So this is wrong. To say 5 going up, that is not right. So if you have never noticed, some students will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is, that's no good. What we want is the distance traveled. The distance traveled is actually 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units up. So 4 is the correct change in y. So now all we have to do is count the change in x, and some students do the same miscounting. So, but as long as you're counting the squares, you should be fine. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 units to the right. So the change in x is 5. So the fraction is 4/5. Sometimes we have to simplify, but not this time. Just 4 over 5. So we go down here to the box, we go 4/5. That's a star. Hang on. Hooray! So I think at this point, I need to hear you guys or read you guys typing me questions, or at least chime in while I do one so that we can kind of gauge if anyone's understanding. Otherwise, I can just move on to the next skill, which is the exact same goal as to find the slope, except it's when you don't get the picture. So you can either take a screenshot with a phone and text it to me, or you can email it to me or anything else. No refreshed email, no new text messages, no one's typing a message, no one's keying a mic. I don't even know if you all are still there, to be honest. Tough to tell. Okay. Well, I'll do this last one and then I will move on. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, man. All right, I'm gonna do one more and then we'll move on to the other skill. And if I get questions, great, and I can answer them, I will do so. So for this one, I've got to pick 2 spots on the graph, and it looks like there is. This looks like a good one, and this one looks like a good one. I guess I'll go ahead and highlight the ones that are no good. They're close, but if you look really carefully, you're gonna notice like these spots here. They're just not connecting with the grid perfectly. Like they're close, but they're just not good enough. So those, I mean, we can't use them. We only want to use the spots where our blue function line goes through an integer coordinate. So it goes up to here. I haven't counted yet, and over to here. And those are the two numbers we need. We need, so what we want is the change in y, and we also want the change in x. So change in y is the up and down. So how many units up does this one go? Chat, you talking about this particular problem? I'll say chat so I don't have to say your name. Yeah, that's how far it goes up. So if you guys count this carefully, that's 1, 2, 3. That's up 4.
Mr. Matthews,
Hey, Tara, what's up?
I thought you already did this question.
Maybe. Khan Academy does like 20 or 25 problems, and you just get them randomly.
Oh.
That's possible. So this one goes over how much? Yeah, anytime I've been given a quiz when I'm a student, if they give me the same question twice, I'm totally fine with it. I have no problem getting the answer correct both times. So which one of these is right? Because most 8th graders will get to this point where they know the two numbers, and then they have this panic attack on the quiz. Is it 4 over 5, or is it 5 over 4? And if they haven't done enough practice, they really panic and they don't remember which one it is. Yep. 4/5 is going to be the correct answer for this one. So this is how you find the slope when they actually give you the picture, which is half the week. The other half is where it's a little more technical. It's just 4 steps. So let me pull that problem up, or those problems. It's called slope from 2 points. Now, there's an instructional video and there's practice. If you go to the Khan lessons I posted this week, you can watch Saul Khan do an amazing example of how to do this. But I'm just going to jump right into it. So they give you 2 points. So this is where everyone that's listening and watching, I highly recommend you have a piece of paper and pencil to do this, because if you don't, you're not going to make the memories. It's really a 4-step rhythm, and the more practice you get, the better you will do. So we're going to use a formula that will always work. It would have worked on the picture problems too, except when there's pictures and you can count, why not? The formula we're going to be using to find slope. So the goal is to find the change in y over the change in x. That's the goal. That's exactly what we were doing when they gave us the graphs. Now, to get the change in y, what we're going to want to do, we got to think about this first coordinate as like the beginning, and this second coordinate as kind of like the end. So we want to take the end and subtract the beginning. To do that, we're going to do a little bit of subtraction. So we want to label these numbers. So like, okay, so first of all, let's just understand the premise that every coordinate has an x value and a y value. Okay, that being said, on these coordinates, this is the x coordinate. This is the x value from our first coordinate, so we call that x1. This is the y value from our first coordinate, so we call that y1. So that's x1 and y1. And then you might guess, for our second coordinate, that's going to be x2. And then the -4 will be y2. Okay, so we've just all we've done so far is we've clarified that -1, 8 is our first coordinate, and that 3, -4 is our second coordinate, kind of the beginning and the end. And we've made little notes for ourselves as to what x1, y1, and x2 and y2 are. And this is why that is so important. The formula for calculating slope is y2 minus y1. So that's the ending y value minus the beginning y value over x2 minus x1. You have to just memorize the formula. Every problem, write it down, and you'll know it within 10 minutes. So step 1, writing the formula. Step 2, labeling your coordinates with x1, y1, and x2, y2. Here's step 3. we have to take these values and plug them in for these variables. So instead of having x1, y1, instead of having these y2, y1 numbers, we're going to actually take this. So the slope is equal to, here's our fraction bar. All right, so what is y2, chat? Looks like it's right here. It's -4. So we just put that in the y2 spot. Now it's always going to be subtraction. What's y1? That's over here. y1 is 8, so it's -4 minus 8. So we're following the formula. We put y2, which is -4, in its place, minus y1, which is 8, in its place, and it's always subtraction. The bottom side of the fraction, x2 is right here, and that is a 3. So we're going to plug in 3 for x2 like this, always subtraction. Okay, now this is where you need to be really technical math students. You guys are going to notice the next thing we need is x1. x1 is a -1. So in parentheses, -1, end parentheses. You have to nest your negative numbers in parentheses. You're not allowed to say, well, I already have a minus sign. I'll just put a 1. That's not how it works. You have to put the minus sign and then put your negative number. So for any parents that are listening, so far, there hasn't really been any math skills used. The first 3 steps are just following directions. The first step is to write down this formula you have to memorize. The second step is to label these coordinates with x1, y1, x2, y2s. The third step, I mean, you could argue that substitution is math, but you haven't had to do any calculations or anything. So we literally put these numbers in the places we are supposed to according to the formula. Now, this is where step 4 is where the math actually kicks in. If our students are not very good with negative numbers or integers in general, this part can really be a struggle. So -4, I gotta mute whoever 157590 is because they're getting a lot of feedback. Sorry. -4 minus 8 is -12. And 3 minus -1. So this is a little math karate. So what's the opposite of subtracting 1? Adding 1. And that's how you need to read the subtraction of a negative number. You can just think of it with plus signs because the opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4. Finally, we have the slope. It's -12/4. There's only one small issue, Khan Academy learners. I'm going to remember that, -12/4. Okay, so let me clear off this. Let me scroll down. Let me redraw. It was -12/4. Well, the issue is none of these answers look like that. So as I was just saying, if our students are really bad at integers, they're going to struggle. Well, this is a simplifying moment where if they're not good at simplifying fractions, they're not going to even realize their answers on the test. So if you didn't know, a fraction bar is division. -12 divided by 4. That's what that is. That's going to be equal to -3. So the answer is D. So let me go to the whiteboard for this, so now I can actually write down the steps. And then by now, if you haven't gotten a piece of paper and pencil, you really need to. Otherwise, you're just kind of watching, nodding, like, oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get that. But really, if you're not doing it on paper, you're not getting anything. You're just trying to make it sound like you're trying to coach yourself into believing you're doing something, but you're not. So paper and pencil, the only way you're going to do this is you practice, practice, practice. Okay, so -8. I got an idea. Let me move this. Let me share the whiteboard. Share. Okay. Clear all the drawings. Okay, so the problem it just gave us was -7, -8. And then it's going to 0, 4. Okay. So. All right, so one step at a time. So step 1, Hang on, that's a really big font. So step 1, write down the formula. I'm gonna sound a lot like Plankton. Write down the formula. Okay, so I'm gonna go and write it down. So the slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Step 2. Label the x and y, the x1, y1, and x2, y2. That's step 2. So this would be a different color. So this would be x1, this would be y1, and a lot of students mess this up. They need to practice. Sorry about smashing my mic. And then the second coordinate, the ending coordinate, is going to be x2 and y2. That takes practice. Some people mess up your first few times. Okay, so we've done that. What is next? So steps 1 and 2 so far, no real mathy math stuff to do, just following directions. So step 3, substitute the values in. Okay, so this, oh, what the, no. Okay, so now we have to take these numbers and actually plug them in to their correct places. So y2, according to what we labeled, is over here. That's a 4. Always minus. Y1 is a -8, so we have to nest that into a set of parentheses. So there's the top. That's y2 minus y1. x2 is 0. Always subtract. And x1 is a negative number, so we have to nest that instead of being -7. Okay, so there's our formula. Last step. Is the solve. It's the math part. Okay, so -4 minus, I'm sorry, it's just 4 minus the -8. Anytime you're subtracting a negative number, think of the first negative as like the opposite, because that's what the negative symbol is. It's a symbol of opposite. What's the opposite of subtracting 8? Well, it'd be adding 8. So you can just consider these both plus signs, and you can only do this when it's subtracting a negative number. 4 plus 8 would be 12. 0 minus -7 was the opposite of subtracting 7, adding 7. So 0 plus 7, 7. So this is the slope. It's an ugly, improper fraction, but it can't be simplified. Don't worry about changing it into a mixed number. Just leave it as is. And that was a multiple choice option. Yay, we got it. Yeah, chat. Somebody actually, I didn't see you type that before I did it. Yep, you got it right. 4 minutes ahead of me, actually. Good job. Okay, so I'll do one more in case somebody has a question that is more specific, but the steps are going to stay the same, so I don't have to clear away everything. That's not what I wanted. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay. So the next one that gave me on con was this. It said 1, -1, and 5, -7. Ta-da. Okay. Again, step 1, write down the formula. So on your papers and on my screen, I'm going to write down m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm 39 years old. I've been teaching math for 15 years. I still write down the formula. So don't tell me you don't have time or that, oh, I got it. I like getting hundreds on my test, and I will never miss it if I write this out. So now I need to label the coordinates. So this would be x1, this would be y1, this would be x2, and this would be y2. Okay, so done that. Okay, so I wrote down the formula. I labeled my points. Substituting. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I need is y2, and that is a negative. I'm so sorry, 1575990, whoever you are. Every time you key your mic, it just comes out really wrecked. Maybe it'll work next time, or you can type in chat maybe. Okay, if you're giving me an answer, I don't even know yet. That's impressive that some of you already have the answer and the teacher is still not there. So I guess we'll wait and see. So y2 would be -7. Always subtract. Now y1 is a negative, so I have to nest that in parentheses to preserve its value. Okay, so it's -7 minus -1. Check. Okay, fine. X2 is 5, so 5 minus, and then x1 is just a 1. Okay. So here we go. Done with the substituting. Now I'm on to just solving the problem. Okay. So the denominator is really easy. 5 minus 1 is just 4. Done. The question is, what is this? This is a -7 minus a -1. Well, just always remember, what is the opposite of subtracting? So anytime you get this, just remember those words. What's the opposite of subtracting? It's adding 1. So what's -7 plus 1? And yes, someone in chat did. There's a couple of answers. One person in chat did nail it. -7 plus 1 is -6. Now, pop quiz. While this is the correct answer, that answer is not on the lesson because they simplified it. So if you want to pick the right answer, -6 and 4 can both be divided by a common factor of 2. -6 divided by 2 is -3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this would be like the better answer. Even though they're both right, like there's nothing wrong with 86 over 4, but -3 over 2 is the simplified answer, so it's the one that's going to show up. Okay, so I've been streaming for about 40 minutes now. We've done both lessons, the getting the slope from a line on a graph and getting the slope from 2 points on the grid. There's also the linked up materials. So unless someone has a question they need answered, I'm going to point you guys in the direction of the Google Classroom stuff. Not to mention, I will see Thursday, Friday people starting tomorrow, and everyone's got until Friday to get their assignments done. Their quiz the quiz that is a 5-question comprehension check on iReady isn't even available until tomorrow anyway. Okay. Well, I don't see anybody typing anything at the moment. I'm going to check my email, see if there's a picture waiting for me. Whoops. Close my email. That was not wise. Okay. Well, I'm going to do one more for the road just because I like me doing math. So what did we say? It was -3 over 2. I'm going to type something to you, 157590. Yeah, whoever got that message I sent about your mic not working, if you just type back to me what you're trying to say, maybe I can help you out. Okay. Whoops, I finished all my problems. Must do more. All right, last problem. We're going to do the same exact steps. Nope, you said it. Get rid of all of you. Get rid of all of you. That is kind of the nice thing about this lesson. Like once you get the hang of these steps, they never change. They always work. All right, here we go. So the points they gave me are -1, -7, and 3-9. So it seems like there are a couple of you that kind of race that ahead. So go ahead, beat me to it, because I'm going to stay here talking. Oh, that's cool. Well, thanks for coming. I hope you can hear me okay, even though your mic is not really working that great, chat. Okay, so write down the formula. Here we go. So the slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, done. Labeling. Okay, I can do that. So this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. Okay. Done with that. Color do I pick now? Check. Substitute in. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the formula but use real numbers. So y2 is 9, always minus. Y1 is a -7, so I have to nest that. Then x2 is 3, always subtract, minus, and x1 is a negative number. It's a -1. Okay, so what is the opposite of subtracting 7? It's adding 7. So 9 plus 7 is 16. What's the opposite of subtracting 1? It's adding 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And fractions are division problems. So 16 divided by 4 is equal to 4. Hooray. The goal is for everyone to be really good at this by Friday. Now, if you're really good at it already, maybe you can try your quiz tomorrow. But as of right now, that is the skill of the week. Finding the slope from a graph and finding the slope from 2 points. I might do this again on Thursday so that the kids that come in to school for the latter half of the week have a chance to see me in class and then ask questions that they come in with from class. So if this was helpful to you in any way, I hope you dial in next time we do this. If you have any questions, email me, text me, bring them into school. Be safe, take care of your families, take care of yourselves, get plenty of sleep. And tomorrow morning, every one of you, I can see you in chat, every single one of you that's logged in, everybody make your bed. Every good day starts with a made bed. I promise. Okay. So I hope you guys have a good night. It's 45 minutes, good session. And I'll see some of you in the morning.
Bye-bye,
Hey.
Mr. Matthews.
Bye, Tiara. It's good to see you. Sort of. You know what I mean.
See you later.